Ladies and gentlemen, I speak to you of the Labour Party, its ideals and its immediate objects. But first of all, let me welcome the goodly company of new electors whom we have long striven to get on the register and to whom we are now glad to appeal. May they govern their country well. The party was born from the hearts and the needs of the people. Its program is based on the problems of the home. Consider what it is that worries the lives of our people. First and foremost, there is the dread of an ever overhanging poverty. The nation is rich. Millions of pounds are squandered every year in deteriorating luxury which blesses and benefits nobody. Many who have not earned their possessions. Multitudes who have not have toiled all their days and at the end are no better off than when they began. This is a political and moral as well as an economic issue. It is the greatest problem of our civilization. The Labour Party is not interested in dispossessing, but it is interested in creating a society in which the wealth producers and service givers may enjoy the reward of their labors. This necessitates a rural as well as a town program, and the party's program to build up the countryside is winning the support of farmers and laborers alike. The Labour Party does not forget that agriculture is still our greatest industry, or that the condition of the farm laborer is one of the most pressing of our national problems. The way by which most of our dreaded poverty comes is unemployment. For nearly 10 years now, this has been a menacing disgrace in our midst. The leaders of both the other parties have neglected it, have been baffled by it. When Mr. Lloyd George was Prime Minister, with a huge majority behind him and nearly 2 million unemployed in the country, he promised much and did little. Since Mr. Baldwin has been in office, he has neglected to face the facts and has fallen back upon charity. His great cure is to spread the unemployed over the land and knock them off insurance benefits. The Labour Party will face what baffled the other two parties. Our claim that the unemployed should have work or maintenance still holds good. National resources, now neglected, will be used. Great highways built. Transport organized as a national service. A bold policy of housing restored. And slum clearances on an adequate scale begun. Electrical power developed. National credit used to assist trade and recondition industrial plants. Children kept at school and old workers pensioned so that they can retire. Whilst these schemes are enlivening trade and absorbing the unemployed, those who are still out of work will be honorably maintained by adequate payments from insurance funds. They will not be driven on to the poor law. This is accepted by the Labour Party as its first task in government. To solve it successfully and in the quickest possible time, the party will commandeer its best brains, the ripest experience of the country, and what money is required. By our treatment of the unemployed problem, we shall stand or fall.